tips and tricks. So we talked about rewards and incentives, and I want to make sure to remind you not to reward your child for something that they already like doing. That can lead to disengagement and not being motivated. One of the things here that I forgot to mention earlier is that as a motivation researcher, we typically think about young children as being very interested in learning and always asking questions. Why is the sky blue? Why is it doing that? Wanting to engage in things like scientific inquiry. And that oftentimes when kids start entering school and they have to learn, they like learning less. And so that's a thing that's very much on the top of our minds. And so how can we think about keeping that excitement for learning going when they're younger? So don't reward your child for something that they already like to do, or for learning. If you do want to reward for learning, make sure that the reward is related to the learning. So if they like drawing or coloring, rewarding them with markers. If they like reading, rewarding them with books. And try and reward with something that the child really values. And I see I have a question here in the chat about what about children with ASD? And my understanding of children with ASD is that they typically have kind of like a heightened sense of things that they like and dislike, like very strong likes and perhaps very strong dislikes that accompany that. And so really trying to understand what are the things that your child likes and incorporating that in everything. If your child really loves trains, books about trains, maybe there's pencils that have trains on them, those kinds of things, puzzles with trains, those things can be really motivating for your child. I do want to reiterate that it is okay to reward for behaviors, and especially when you're trying to teach your children specific behaviors, hygiene, being polite, for example, saying please and thank you, that something like a sticker chart and a reward system can be very effective. So make sure that you're using positive reinforcement, that you're seeing, oh, I'm really happy that you brushed your teeth today without my help, or I'm really happy today that you made your bed without me asking. That these types of things are more effective than punishing. And again, we talked about a lot about interest and self-confidence, and we want to capitalize on children's interests. So not only in the types of rewards that you want to give them, but also in trying to think about boosting self-confidence. We know that feedback can promote self-confidence. For example, games are a very motivating environment, even though kids fail a lot in games and, their Mario character dies, it's still pretty motivating to keep playing, especially getting that immediate feedback. Keep the zone of proximal development in mind. So think about if, not only focusing on what the child can do, but what they can do perhaps with your help or a teacher's help. And that should also be in how you're choosing activities for your child. So not choosing books that are way, way too difficult or puzzles that are way, way too difficult, but maybe something that's slightly more difficult than what they're used to, and you being there and providing those healthy scaffolds.